In the heart of the city, Detective Mara Voss stared out the window of her office, watching the rain-slicked streets below. Her city was a symphony of sirens and the cries of street vendors, a backdrop to the horrors she'd seen in her years on the force, but nothing had chilled her to the bone like the case of the Pleasant Voice killer. He was a modern-day ghoul, preying on the city's elderly, lonely population. His mo was simple and terrifying. He'd call his victims, usually pensioners living alone, posing as a concerned bank representative. His voice was a weapon, warm, reassuring, the kind that could disarm the most skeptical of listeners. He'd tell them there was suspicious activity on their account, that their life savings were at risk, and the only way to secure their money was to transfer it all to a special account. He'd walk them through the process, these lonely hearts guided by a voice that was as smooth as silk, but once the money was gone, the killer's tone would change. He'd threaten to take their life, sometimes promising to let them live if they agreed to a horrifying alternative, and that's when the nightmare ended for these poor souls. The first victim, Mrs. Eleanor Grayson, was found with her phone still clutched in her hand, her throat slit ear to ear. The second, Mr. Harold Dunn, had been forced to wire every penny he had before being drowned in his own bathtub. Each victim had one thing in common, a chilling reminder of the monster they had all received the call hours before they died. Mara traced the number to a burner phone, but the killer was always one step ahead, changing his number, evading authorities. As the body count rose, so did the fear in the city. People stopped answering calls from unknown numbers. Their phones became tombstones to their solitude. Mara was determined to catch this killer, not just for the victims, but for the peace of mind of everyone in the city. She worked day and night, poring over the victims' call logs, looking for a connection, a lead, anything. She was desperate, then a break. One of the victims had managed to record a few minutes of the conversation with the killer. Listening to the tape, Mara felt a chill. She knew that tone. She'd heard it on the other call logs. It was the same predator, playing on the fears of the innocent, lulling them into a false sense of security. As Mara listened, she noticed something. The killer seemed to know a lot about the victims, too much for someone posing as a bank representative. He knew their routines, their habits, even their fears. This was no ordinary killer. This was a monster who reveled in the fear he instilled, a monster who played with his food. Days turned. In 2 weeks, with no solid lead, Mara's hope began to dwindle. The pressure from the chief and the media was immense, but she was determined not to let the killer win. Then one night her own phone rang. Startled, Mara looked at the caller ID. It was an unknown number. Her gut told her to let it go to voicemail, but something compelled her to answer. "Hello, this is David from First National Bank. I'm calling about suspicious activity on your account. I noticed a large transfer from your account to an unknown recipient. Is this correct?" The voice was smooth, friendly, and Mara's blood turned to ice. She knew that tone. She'd heard it on the victim's call logs. This was the voice that had haunted her nightmares, the voice that had become the stuff of urban legends. "You've made a mistake," she whispered, her voice shaking. The voice chuckled, a low, guttural sound that sent shivers down her spine. "No, detective, you have." Mara's breath hitched. The killer knew who she was, but how? Had he been watching her, waiting for his chance? Just then, a loud knock rattled her front door. Mara instinctively reached for her gun, her heart pounding in her chest. But before she could react, her landline rang. Startled, Mara looked at the phone. It was the same number that had called before. Her cell phone buzzed with an incoming text. "It's okay, detective. I'm here to help." The message read, followed by a series of emojis, each one more sinister than the last, as Mara stood frozen in fear. Another knock, this time more insistent, came to her door. Her phone rang again, the screen displaying the caller. ID David from First National Bank. Outside, the rain intensified, mixing with her tears. Mara felt trapped, hunted. The killer was closing in. What would happen next? Would Mara be able to stop the killer, or would she become another victim in his twisted game?